Governor Gary Herbert recently led a trade mission to the People's Republic of China. Several business leaders joined in on the trip, including Lew Cramer, President and CEO of the World Trade Center Utah. He joins us to give us the skinny on the China trip. Lew, welcome back to this side of the globe.
Delighted to be back. I don't feel very skinny because we went to a lot of receptions, but it was a wonderful trip.
Well, if the food's good, then at least it was worthwhile. You know, you don't cross the international date line without good food.
No question about it.
Besides the food, what makes a trip like this successful? I mean, how can we tell if this was a successful trip?
Well, clearly, it's by the outcome, the results, the business deals that took place. And I thought in that case, we laid an outstanding foundation for future growth. We had about 45 government, business, education leaders on the trip. And to a person, they had excellent contacts. In addition, there's also contacts between the members of the Utah delegation, many of whom had not known each other before, and that's going to be a lifelong, hopefully, connection for all of them going forward.
I know this is your favorite saying, that the most important space in networking or in business is the final 3 feet. Does it really make that much of a difference? Is there something about the Chinese culture that makes it important for business leaders, for someone with the stature of the governor, to go to China to make that connection?
Marty, that's a very good question, and the answer is yes, it is. There's nothing like actually having that physical contact, looking somebody in the eye, shaking their hand, and talking about the opportunities. Many, many, many of the meetings we had would never have happened except that we had Governor Herbert there. And he did an outstanding job opening doors, cheerleading for Utah, and introducing the members of the delegation and ensuring that we had success. So for that purpose alone, you had to fly 14 hours, miss your kids' soccer games, go to be jet lagged for a week, but you had to be there to make that personal contact.
You talk about some of these high-level meetings or higher-level meetings that you got into because of the governor. Of the meetings, in 5 days you're going to go from meeting to meeting, see a lot of stuff, meet a lot of people. What meetings were the most beneficial? What if you could pick out 2 or 3 moments that were the best, that really say that makes this trip worthwhile?
Well, it's interesting because many people on this trip had never been to China before, so it was a real eye-opener for them, for example, to come to Shanghai, and we met in an exclusive, probably an hour, with the mayor of Shanghai. That's a very tough meeting to get. In many ways, he's considered the second most important person in China. Why? Shanghai has 24, 25 million people. It has over 4,000 buildings that are over 25 stories high, and it is, in many ways, the financial capital of Asia. So to have a meeting with the man who leads that would only have happened with Governor Herbert. So that was one exciting opportunity. We also had a reception in Governor Herbert and Utah's honor, hosted by the mayor of Wuhan. People say, Wuhan? That sounds Chinese. It's one of the top 10 cities in China. It has 14 million people. In fact, we were told that there are 50 cities in China that are over 10 million people. But Wuhan wants to do business with, they already are, but wants to do more business with Utah companies. And so in the presentation, the mayor of Wuhan appeared to know more about Utah than some of the members of the delegation. He had pictures there, for example, of Dead Horse Point with a picture of the Salt Lake Temple superimposed upon it. Not that that's exactly how it works, but it was showing that he was trying. So those kind of meetings were an example of their commitment to learn more about Utah because they want to build this bridge across the Pacific.
You talk about the meetings that you could get into because Governor Herbert was there, and not to keep hitting this point, but I imagine there were some where Ambassador Huntsman, our former governor, could make that connection as well. And I know you guys spent some time with him on this trip. What role did he play, and how good was it to see the old governor?
It was an honor to see him again. He's tanned, rested, and ready. We had the pleasure of a beautiful reception at the ambassador's residence, also a highly sought-after invitation. The prestige of the American ambassador is immense, and Governor Huntsman's, Ambassador now Huntsman's, capacity in Mandarin, his understanding of the cultures, his 10 years in Asia over his career, opened doors as well. So, and the fact that he was introducing his successor as governor, Governor Herbert, was a huge benefit for us. So it was great to see him again. He's resigning at the end of April. He'll be back in Washington, D.C., and as I say,
Did he tell you what he's going to do next? I've heard rumors.
Well, he said he's going, well, he did tell me. He's coming to his son's graduation at Judge Memorial on May 18th. So.
And no specifics beyond that. You don't want to break any news for us.
I'm not worthy to do that, but it was great to see him, and he is clearly the master of the diplomatic art. So it was an honor to be with him again.
The governor did sign an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, with the mayor of the Jinshan district. That's going to bring some immediate money to a sewage treatment plant in Provo. What are these agreements? What value do they have? Can you explain that to us? That they go over and they sign a piece of paper saying we're going to be friends. How does that really translate into an economic benefit?
Well, in this case, specifically with Jinshan, it's a large biomass treatment plant that Salt Lake Company as well as a Provo company are working on together. It could be a prototype for some huge opportunities. Memorandum of understandings are very popular among the Chinese in particular because it says that we actually met each other. We saw it. You know, we did the 3 feet, that shook the hands, looked each other in the eye, and said, we can do business together. So that was a real upbeat opportunity for us. Jinshan was particularly impressive because it's about 40, 50 miles southwest of Shanghai. They intend to build a new city, a whole new city there of 1 million, 2 million, you name it, is part of the 5-year plan to bring 160 million Chinese from the rural areas to the urban areas in the next 10 years. And Jinshan is going to be a model city, kind of like Daybreak. So we talked about in Vision Utah, it's an example of the kinds of skills and talents that we can mutually share to make something happen.
I want to talk more about real opportunities for Utah businesses as well as some tourism and stuff. Let's break this up into 2 parts. Lew Cramer is the president and CEO of World Trade Center Utah. We'll be back with part 2 of our discussion and wrap up of the governor's trade mission to China.